I thought I was doing something kind. Something that would make her feel seen on one of the biggest days of her life. Instead, it turned into a fight about boundaries I didn't even know I had crossed. My stepdaughter wanted one thing for graduation: a traditional Navajo dress. Not jewelry, not money, not attention. Just something that connected her to who she is. And when that fell through, I stepped in. I offered to buy it for her. She was happy, grateful, even. But her mom, she said I took something that was never mine to give. That I stole a moment she can never get back. Now I'm sitting here wondering. Did I support a girl who needed it? Or did I quietly replace someone who was supposed to be there instead? Because sometimes, doing the right thing for one person means becoming the wrong person in someone else's story. I've been in Elle's life for about 8 years now. She was just a kid when I met her, still figuring out who she was. Still a little guarded around me at first. And honestly, I never pushed it. I didn't walk in expecting to be anything other than someone new in her world. I wasn't there to replace her mom. That was never my intention, and I made that clear from the beginning to her, to my husband, and especially to her mom. But over time, something shifted. It wasn't sudden. There was no big moment where everything changed. It was small things: helping her with homework at the kitchen table, late night talks when she couldn't sleep, car rides where she'd slowly start opening up about school, friends, life. And eventually, she stopped holding back. She'd come to me with things that mattered. Not because she had to, but because she wanted to. And that meant everything. We built this quiet kind of bond. Not loud. Not forced. Just steady. There was trust there. Comfort. An understanding that didn't need to be explained. And through all of it, her mom was still very much present. They have their own relationship, one that's deep, emotional, and sometimes complicated. Not in a dramatic way. Not in a broken way. Just layered. There's history there I'll never fully understand. Moments, struggles, things they've been through together that I wasn't part of. And I've always tried to respect that space. I never wanted Elle to feel like she had to choose between us. And I definitely never wanted her mom to feel like I was trying to take something that belonged to her. So I stayed in my lane. I showed up where I could. Stepped back where I needed to. And for 8 years, that balance seemed to work. Until this. Elle is half Navajo on her mom's side. And when it came to graduation, she didn't care about looking trendy. She didn't scroll through Pinterest boards or talk about what everyone else was wearing. She didn't want something flashy or attention-grabbing. What she wanted was something that felt like her. A traditional Navajo dress. And the way she talked about it, you could tell this wasn't just about fashion. It was about identity. She told me how, growing up, there were times she felt caught in between, like she didn't fully belong in one world or the other. Two. This. In one space. Not enough. In another. But this dress? This was something that grounded her. It was a way of saying, this is where I come from. This is who I am. She talked about the craftsmanship, the meaning behind the colors, the way each detail wasn't random, it carried history. Generations. Stories. And more than anything, it connected her to her mom. To her family on that side. To a part of herself she didn't always get to express in everyday life. Graduation, for her, wasn't just about finishing high school. It was a moment where she could stand in front of everyone, teachers, friends, family, and show them something real, something rooted. Not just look at me, but this is me. And when she described walking across that stage in that dress, there was this quiet kind of excitement in her voice. Not loud. Not showy. But certain. Like this, was something she had been holding onto for a long time. And now, she finally had a chance to claim it. That's why it mattered. Not because it was beautiful, though it was. But because it meant something deeper than that. It was pride. It was belonging. It was a piece of her story. Finally being seen. Originally, she had everything planned out. She was going to borrow a traditional dress from her aunt, her mom's sister. It made sense. It felt right. It kept everything within the family. And for a while, she seemed at ease about it. So one night at dinner, I didn't think twice when I asked, "Hey, did you end up picking up the dress yet?" It was such a simple question. But the second I said it, something shifted. Elle didn't answer right away. She just froze. Her fork hovered over her plate for a second before she slowly set it down. Her shoulders sank, just slightly, but enough that you noticed. Then she looked down. Not in a dramatic way. Not like she was about to cry. Just quiet. Like something in her had already shut down before the words even came out. "I can't anymore," she said softly. That was it. No explanation. No details. Just, "I can't." The room went still. Even my husband stopped mid-bite, glancing over at her, like he was waiting for more. But it didn't come. I gently asked, "What happened?" She hesitated for a second, then gave a small shrug, too quick, too practiced. "Just Family stuff, she said. And the way she said it, it wasn't frustration. It wasn't anger. It was resignation. Like she had already accepted that whatever happened wasn't worth fighting anymore. She picked up her fork again, but didn't really eat. Just moved the food around on her plate, eyes still down, avoiding everyone. And in that moment, you could feel it. The disappointment. Not loud, not dramatic, but heavy. Because this wasn't just about a dress. This was something she had been quietly holding on to. Something she was actually excited about. And just like that, it was gone. And in that moment, I could feel myself hesitating. Not because I didn't want to help, but because I was aware of the line I always tried so hard not to cross. This wasn't just any purchase. This meant something to her mom, to her family. And for a split second, I wondered, is this my place? But then I looked at her. Still staring down at her plate. Still pretending it didn't matter. And it was so obvious that it did. So before I could overthink it, I just said it. Why don't we buy one? She looked up at me, almost immediately. Not excited. Not relieved. Just surprised. Like she wasn't sure she heard me right. What? She asked, a little quieter than usual. We could just buy one, I repeated gently. If that's what you really want. She shook her head almost instinctively. They're expensive, she said. Like $500 or $600. And I nodded, because I already knew that. I had planned to get her something else for graduation anyway, a Tiffany's necklace I'd picked out weeks ago. Something nice. Something meaningful. In my mind. But suddenly, it felt irrelevant. So I said, then we skip the necklace. She blinked. What? We skip the necklace, I said again. And we use that money for the dress instead. There was a pause. And the way her expression changed. It wasn't immediate excitement. It wasn't a smile. It was disbelief. Like she was trying to figure out if I was serious. Or if this was one of those things people say but don't actually mean. You'd really do that? She asked. And there was something in her voice, something small, almost guarded. Like she didn't want to get her hopes up. Of course, I said. If that's what matters to you. She didn't even hesitate this time. I'd rather have the dress. It came out so quickly, so honestly. Like the answer had been sitting there the whole time. And for the first time that night, her shoulders lifted just a little. Her eyes didn't look so heavy. It wasn't a big reaction. No jumping. No huge smile. But something shifted. Like for the first time since that conversation started, she felt seen. Not told what she should want. Not given something chosen for her. But asked. And actually heard. And in that moment, I knew. This wasn't just about giving her something. It was about giving her back something she thought she had already lost. The next day, Elle came to me with her phone in her hand. I think I found one, she said, trying to sound casual. But she couldn't quite hide the excitement in her voice. She showed me the listing. And even just from the pictures, it was beautiful. Simple, elegant, but clearly something made with care. Something real. This is the one? I asked. She nodded. Yeah. I think so. There was this quiet certainty about it. But then she added, almost as an afterthought. It's kind of far though. I checked the location. About a 3-hour drive. And honestly, I didn't even hesitate. Then we make a day of it, I said. She looked up at me again. That same mix of surprise and hope. We'll go, you can try it on, see it in person. And if it's not perfect, we'll look at others. No pressure. For the first time, she actually smiled. Not a small one. A real one. Really? Yeah. I said. We'll make it fun. And I meant that. Because this wasn't just about buying something. This was a moment. Something she was going to remember. But there was one thing I was very careful about. I paused, then said, we should make sure your mom can come too. Her expression shifted slightly, not negative, just thoughtful. I want her there, I added. This is important. For both of you. Because in my mind, that was the right way to do it. I didn't want there to be any confusion. Any feeling that I was stepping into something that wasn't mine. So I told her. Pick a day that works for all of us. A day you get out of school early. I'm off work. And your mom can come too. I made it clear. This wasn't about replacing anyone. This wasn't about taking over. It was about showing up, without pushing anyone else out. And for a moment, it felt like everything was lining up the way it should. Elle had something to look forward to again. There was excitement in her voice, energy in the way she talked about the trip. And I remember thinking, okay. This is good. This is how it's supposed to be. Balanced. Respectful. Simple. I had no idea how quickly that feeling was about to fall apart. So the day finally comes. Everything's set. Elle is ready. I'm ready. And before my husband leaves to pick her up, I ask just to be sure. Is your mom coming? There's a pause. And Elle just says, no. No explanation, no follow-up. Just, no. And something about that didn't sit right with me. But at that point, we were already committed. The plan was in motion. So I told my husband to go ahead and get her anyway. It was supposed to be simple. Just a quick pickup. But the moment he got there, everything exploded. Later, he told me how it started. Her mom opened the door already tense. Already on edge. And the second he mentioned the trip, she snapped. What do you mean she's buying the dress? She demanded. Not confused. Not curious. Angry. My husband tried to keep things calm. Said it wasn't a big deal, that we were all supposed to go together. But that only made it worse. No, she said, louder this time. That's something I should be doing. Her voice was sharp. Hurt. But defensive. That's my daughter. That's my responsibility. My moment. And then it turned. Fast. She started accusing me without me even being there. Saying I was inserting myself where I didn't belong. That I had no right to step in and take over something like this. That's not her place, she said. She doesn't get to play mom when it's convenient. At that point, voices were raised. Not just frustration anymore, full-on argument. My husband pushed back. Told her if she wanted to buy the dress, she could have said something. That no one was stopping her. But that only escalated things further. Because now it wasn't about the dress anymore. It was about control. About territory. About who gets to show up. And who doesn't. And in the middle of all of it, was Elle. Standing there. Silent. Watching her parents argue over something that was supposed to be about her. My husband said she looked frozen. Like she didn't know where to stand, who to look at, what to say. And that's when it really hit me. This wasn't just conflict. She was caught right in the center of it. Not choosing sides. Not saying anything. Just absorbing it. And no matter who was right in that moment, she was the one taking the hit. Then my phone rang. I didn't even have to look at the screen to know it was her. The second I answered, I heard it. Crying. Not the kind where someone is just upset. But the kind where they're trying to hold it together and failing. Hey, it's okay, I said immediately, stepping away into another room. But she couldn't even respond right away. All I could hear were uneven breaths. Like she was trying to talk but couldn't get the words out. I didn't mean for this to happen, she finally managed, her voice shaking. And that hit me harder than anything else. Because she wasn't angry. She wasn't blaming anyone. She thought this was her fault. They're fighting, she said, quieter now. They're both just yelling. There was a pause, and then she added, almost in a whisper, it's because of me. My chest tightened. No. Hey, this is not your fault, I said quickly, trying to keep my voice steady. But she kept going, like she needed to get it out. I should have just not said anything about the dress, or just worn something else. I didn't think it would turn into this. Her voice cracked again, and I could picture her perfectly. Standing there, shoulders hunched, trying to disappear in a situation she never asked for. I just wanted it to be simple, she said. And there it was. Not anger. Not frustration. Just hurt. The kind that comes from being caught in the middle of something you don't control. I don't want them to fight because of me, she added. And for a second, I didn't know what to say. Because she wasn't wrong about what was happening. But she was wrong about why. So I softened my voice and said, listen to me, okay? None of this is on you. You didn't do anything wrong. She didn't respond right away. Just quiet breathing on the other end. So I continued, gently. We're going to figure this out. All of it. But right now, you don't have to fix anything. Another pause. Then a small, shaky, okay. And I could tell she didn't fully believe it. But she wanted to. We'll talk later, I said. Just take a breath. I'm here. When the call ended, I just stood there for a second. Phone still in my hand. Because what was supposed to be something happy, something meaningful for her, had turned into something heavy. And no matter how calm I tried to sound, it didn't feel okay. Not even close. The next day, I knew we couldn't just leave things the way they were. Too much had been said. Too much had been felt. So I asked Elle, gently, can you call your mom? I'd like to talk to her, if that's okay. She hesitated for a second, then nodded. We put the phone on speaker. There was a brief silence before her mom picked up. Hello? Her tone was neutral, but tight. Hi. I said. It's me. Another pause. Not long but enough to feel it. I just wanted to talk about yesterday, I continued, keeping my voice calm. Because I don't want there to be any misunderstanding. You could hear her shift on the other end. A small exhale. Well, I think it's pretty clear what happened, she said. And there it was, that edge. Not yelling. Not aggressive. But defensive. So I stayed steady. I want you to know. I did want you there. I told Elle that from the beginning. This wasn't something I was trying to do without you. Silence. Then, it didn't feel that way. Her voice was quieter now but still guarded. I understand why it might have come across like that, I said. But the only reason I offered to pay was because I thought the cost might be difficult right now. That's it. Another pause. Longer this time. And I could almost hear her processing it. Deciding how to respond. Well, that's still something I should be doing, she said finally. That's my daughter. I know. I replied softly. And I respect that. There was a slight shift in the air after that. Not resolved but less sharp. So I added, carefully, if you want to buy the dress instead, you can. And that's when everything changed. The tension didn't disappear but it loosened. Because now it wasn't about control anymore. It was about choice. Oh, she said, almost caught off guard. I'm not trying to take that from you, I continued. I just want Elle to have what she's been looking forward to. There was another pause. But this one felt different. Less defensive. More open. Well, she said slowly, I still want to be part of it. Of course, I said immediately. That's what I wanted from the start. And for the first time in the conversation, we weren't pushing against each other. We were adjusting. Finding space. Not perfect, not effortless. But moving towards something that worked. Eventually, we found a way forward. Not perfectly, not effortlessly. But enough. We all went together. The drive was quieter than I expected, polite conversation, careful words, like everyone was trying not to step on anything fragile. But when we got there, something softened. Elle tried on the dress. And the second she stepped out, everything else faded. Her mom's expression changed first. You could see it, the pride, the emotion, the recognition of something deeper than all the tension that came before. This wasn't about who paid for what. This was her daughter. Standing there, exactly the way she had imagined. In the end, we split it. She bought the moccasins and the jewelry. I bought the dress. And Elle got what she wanted. What she had been hoping for all along. And for a moment, it felt right. Calm. Balanced. Almost like nothing had ever gone wrong. But not everything disappears that easily. Because even now, her mom still believes I crossed a line. That I stepped into a space that wasn't mine to enter. That I took something from her. Even if I didn't mean to. And maybe, from where she's standing, that's true. But from where I'm standing, I didn't see a boundary. I saw a girl I care about. About to lose something that mattered to her. And I couldn't just sit there and let that happen. So I stepped in. Not to replace anyone. Not to take anything. Just to make sure she didn't go without. But maybe intention isn't the only thing that matters. Maybe timing. And roles. And unspoken expectations matter just as much. So now I'm left wondering. Did I help in the way she needed? Or did I quietly take a moment that was never mine to give in the first place? Because sometimes, doing the right thing for someone you love can still make you the wrong person in someone else's story. So tell me, was I wrong for stepping in? Or would you have done the same?